These are the notable clauses on the new CBA. As Mike alluded to, we could get very much in the weeds, over 400 pages of the collective bargaining agreement, but it expands 14-team playoffs, increased 48-man game day roster, increases minimum player salaries, more benefits for active and former players. It's a question of degrees, though, how much those benefits were and how much they should be. Ian, we get a look now at a potential 17-game season. So now the question, do you think we will find out what provisions that were in the CBA were contingent on a 17-game season?
I think the most important thing about the 17-game season right now is that it's actually not going to start right now. And I know there's a lot of words and there's a lot of things that we've discussed over the last couple weeks, and now it's about specifics. So what we know is there's not going to be a 17-game this year. There's not going to be a 17-game likely next year. We will see after that. The expansion of the playoffs should start this year, from what I understand. Taking preseason games down from 4 to 3 is not expected to start this year. So there are some changes, some immediate changes, including, for instance, drastically raised minimum salaries up $100,000, and that's going to continue to go. Probably a small uptick in the salary cap. Let's see what else. There's some new rules as far as who can actually count against the salary cap, basically allowing teams to sign an extra veteran player. There's some other provisions in there, but I think right now the most important thing is that teams are actually going to be able to spend money in free agency because they're going to have cap space in 2020, 21 and beyond.
Ian, go get some more coffee. I got it from here. To me, I think that one of the biggest things for the players here, when you talk about that 17th game, Patrick, was they wanted to make sure that it was going to be as late as possible within that window of 21 to 23. So 2021 to 2023, and the owners wanted it as soon as possible. That was part of the discussions. And then Mike Silver, is he awake, by the way? Let's give him a call. Let's see if we can get Silver up and talking about this, because he's so smart, and he predicted, well, they'll probably split the difference there between 2021 and 2023. So his guess was that we would see the 17th game starting in 2022. We'll see about all those things going forward here. I did talk to players within the last couple of days here, and their issue on the 17th game about not getting enough in return, which is something that I heard strongly about early in the process. Suddenly it went away when things started to change, and the market, which was so strong when when the owners pushed this proposal toward the players late last month, suddenly things were dropping left and right, and they were looking at it saying, hey, you know what, I think we're getting enough in return here. Even had one player said, you know what, I probably should have voted yes. He locked into a no early in the process. So a lot of players regretting their votes early, feeling like they should have waited till later in the process here to vote on this thing. So I think in the end, I understand the players' concerns about another game and another wear and tear. And those players who believe that, by the way, not necessarily buying into the fact that
apparently, Mike's comment about Mike Silver not being awake has led to a karmic reaction on his live feed. We'll get Mike Garafolo back here on NFL Network as we are reacting to this news that the NFLPA voted to approve the proposed CBA, and we do have some reaction. Sam Acho reacting on social media. We'll let you hear what he had to say.
So the players voted yes to the proposed CBA. Here's why that's important. For current players, over half of us believe that this was a good deal, or we believe that it was better than any alternative of a strike, a lockout, or work stoppage. It's obviously a very contentious vote, so no matter what side you stood on, right now is the time for us to come together, find the weak points in this deal, and work to make them stronger. For the fans, this means that football will be played. It's effectively an 11-year deal, so that means that there's going to be labor peace for the next 11 years. Now, for the former, current, and future players, this deal was done with you in mind. Do we get everything we asked for? No. Do we get everything we wanted? No. But we pushed, and we will keep on pushing for years to come. This is only the beginning, and we have a long, arduous road ahead of us. And the only way we win, both now and in the future, is to come together as one team, one body, a family. That's what we are, and that's what we always will be.
So Sam Acho taking the statement there on social media to say that they got the deal. Perhaps they didn't get everything they wanted, but he was in support of that deal. It's next woman up, Judy Batista replacing Mike Garafolo after his camera goes down. Judy, just your reaction to what Sam Acho said there. He reiterated the idea of labor peace, but for the no votes, they probably feel it's more quiet than peace, right?
Yeah, I'm sure, as we were just talking about a few minutes ago, there's a lot of repair work that's going to have to be done internally now that this part is over at the union. I was just thinking about a few days ago, remember Thomas Morstead, who is a player rep, posted his thoughts on this vote, and he said, this is our opportunity to secure economic certainty in a very uncertain time. And I don't know how many votes that statement directly swung, but I think that is the mindset that took over the last week or so. When this first went to the players, nobody could have imagined that the NBA was going to pull the plug on its season, that Major League Baseball was going to have to push back opening day. You just could not have envisioned where we are right now. And there's also the sense of we're not quite sure where we're going to be in a week or 2 weeks or a month from now. And I certainly get the sense over the last few days in talking to people that really took over, and the idea that they could ease the uncertainty is what pushed this over the finish line finally.
You mentioned the social media post from Thomas Morstead. This was drastically different from the last time the players voted on a CBA, ratifying it. If Mike Garafolo's camera was working, what he would remind us is that in 2011, players literally ratified it at training camp. It was a done deal once the executive committee and once DeMaurice Smith signed off. Drastically different here because it was very, very splintered from the players' standpoint. And one thing that in 11 years we will probably be discussing is how the vote in the social media age has really changed. I mean, we saw the incredible push from star players to vote no, often with no explanation, from Russell Wilson to J.J. Watt. And that was a big megaphone. There were players, a lot of players, who were swayed by some of those votes, and it basically took public opinion and almost made it seem like a vote no was somehow pro-player, when in reality, the NFLPA's executive committee had literally negotiated this deal along with DeMaurice Smith. It's something that I don't get the sense anybody was prepared for. The fallout the NFLPA will now have to deal with. I talked to one of the people, prominent player who just voted no, texted me, this is just sad. That's the feeling from the players who voted no. From the players who voted yes, in a deal that certainly seems like a very fair one, it means a lot more money this year, money going forward, and it probably would have taken, from the estimates I received, 7 or so years to make back the money they would have lost had this CBA been voted down.